Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. So, can you hear my voice?
Good day, doctor.
Okay, good. So, for those who just joining, so please scan your attendance. Because at 9:10, I'm going to disable the QR code. Okay, semua dah scan attendance. QR code ni. Saya akan disable sekarang. Ini, okay. So, boleh nampak saya punya slide PowerPoint?
Boleh, Doktor.
Okay, so basically for today, we're going to continue on our next topic on wiki-write characteristic. So if you still remember in four of what elements that contribute to a good wiki-dynamic performance, which we call four key attributes for wiki-dynamics. One of it is write element. Okay, so write element roughly in write element is all about comfort, meaning that ideally we would like to create something that whenever the vehicle hitting something on the road surface, either be it rocks, bump, hole, that won't affect the passengers inside the passenger cabin. So let's say that you are driving on a straight road, so there is a bump. So when you hit the bump at the same speed, ideally we want to create an ideal condition that even though that we just hit the bump, we won't feel anything. We won't feel we just hit a bump. Okay, but in real life, it's just that we still don't feel it, It's just that it's being reduced, the effect is being reduced, and there is a one type of suspension that can do totally eliminate the bump effect. Okay, so that one is on different categories of suspension system, which is lies under the what advanced suspension system group, which we going to describe. Okay, I'm just going to describe briefly to you because the topic quite advanced, and usually I'm just covering it in the master topic. Okay, okay. Now, okay, so basically, roughly for this topic, you need to understand the basic understanding of meaning of right comfort, and then we're going to take a look at the basic vehicle ride model. And for vehicle ride model, we have three types. Oh, saya lupa ke presentation. Sorry. Okay. And so to introduce basic, okay, to introduce a basic vehicle ride model. So basically, for vehicle ride model, in ride model, we just study about the vertical axis of the vehicle, the Z axis. So if you still remember in the global axis for vehicle, we have X, Y, and Z. X is for the forward direction, Y is in lateral direction, YZ in vertical direction. And in right, we're just going to study motions about the Z axis, which is the vertical axis, and that is our comfort. Okay. So basically, basic right model, this thing, the right characteristic or the right modeling is actually being simplified into three types of model. The first one we have 2 degree of freedom model. So we're going. The first one is we have a 4 degree of freedom model. Last one we have 7 degree of freedom model. Okay. So this one, we're going to derive the equation for this equation of motions, and it's not in the notes. I'm going to derive it and have take your own notes because I know if I put it in the slide, it's just a set of equations, then you won't know how that equation being derived. Okay, because later on this vehicle the modeling of a ride model, we're going to model it using MATLAB Simulink. Okay, so okay, and then on the third objective for this topic is to estimate vehicle ride performance and methods to improve ride. So this one we're going to take a look via your simulation work. The fourth one is to calculate resonant frequencies of the body and wave pitch and bound. So basically, we have before, okay, for ride comfort performance in the industry, they have two types of approach in evaluating the ride suspension performance. The first one is by doing a rough estimation on how the ride performance of a suspension going to provide. This more like what estimation. The second one, they're going to do into details, which is they're going to start looking at the simulation model, be it using mathematical modeling using MATLAB Simulink or other programming software, or they're just going to evaluate the ride comfort performance using multi-body simulation. Okay, that one is a more advanced topic, but I'm going to share you how it's being done. Okay, and then on the fifth element, we're going to take a look to calculate the responses from input from roughness, wheel non-uniformity, and force applied directly to the body. Okay, this is one is actually being covered in the when you are doing the modeling for 2DOF, 4DOF, and 7DOF. Okay, these 2DOF, 4DOF, and 7DOF. So we're going to take a look at why it being described as a 2 degree of freedom, and why it is being described as 4 degree of freedom, and why it's being described as 7 degree of freedom. Okay, if I still remember previously in your, if I'm not mistaken, in your what, in your awak ada ambil subjek vibration lah?
Dah.
Ada kan? Okay, dalam in vibration subject, you learn about 1 degree of freedom of spring mass system, correct?
Betul. Ada.
Okay, so that one is just for spring mass system. Now for suspension system, we need to consider 2 degree of freedom at least. Okay, so what is that 2 degree of freedom? To later on, okay, so It's like we've been to take away that. So this is like more advanced application from that spring mesh system. Okay, now we take a look at the ride comfort. So ride comfort, this can be considered a subjective assessment. So basically, when it is a subjective assessment, it depends on people who ride the vehicle. Okay, for example, let's say person A, when he ride the normal passenger vehicle, typical medium price passenger vehicle, sedan vehicle, and he never drive the high-end car. So when he usually change the car from Proton, Produa to Toyota, Toyota to Mitsubishi, and then says the ride comfort is just yeah, it's acceptable. There's nothing nice about it, but when compared to person B who has experience or own a car from normal price passenger vehicle, let's say the Produa, and then he also owns a car from Mercedes, BMW, so or any other continental car. So basically, there's going to be he will realize that this what high-end performance car or pricey the vehicle. So he will notice that the ride comfort when compared to the medium price vehicle is very significant. Okay, differences. So because usually ride comfort is not all about the because ride comfort is not only be contributed by the ability of the suspension system to isolate the road harshness from being experienced by the driver and the passengers, but also involve on how the isolation of the cabin be made. So meaning that throughout the cabin there is what isolation rubbers. Okay, there is a proper mountings, high grade mountings, materials to be used for that rubber. Okay, things that one also contribute to ride comfort. Okay, so kalau if you're looking at the customer requirements are subject to many related issues. So ride comfort in in different location in the world is not going to be the same. So if let's say that ride comfort for this one I'm talking about ride comfort that being contributed by the suspension load, not by the like the isolation or rubber. Okay, throughout the or around the surrounding the cabin. Okay, this is only being the one that related to suspension only. So if you take a look at the, for example, suspension system that been designed in Europe, especially Italy, and the suspension system that been designed on tune, to be used in Malaysia, there is a significant differences where ones that been tuned for Asia application like Indonesia application, the suspension is much more what we can see much more stiffer compared to the one in Italy. Okay, because in Italy and in Malaysia itself we have a different kind of different quality of road that being laid on the ground. Okay, like for example in Italy there's a lot of the tarmac or pavement rocks that being laid on the road. Okay, there's like a macam pavement lah, pavement bricks, and then so the suspension over there in Italy is being designed to have towards a softer suspension system. Okay, and then in Italy it's like a small country, so most of the urban area is being using a pavement as the medium on their road surface compared to Malaysia where we can have a cement, we can have a tarmac, and then in Malaysia we have a lot of pothole. Okay, and then this one we will realize that if let's say a car from Italy being imported to Malaysia and drive in Malaysia road surface over using Malaysia road, you can see that their suspension is too soft, and then yeah, it is comfortable, but when it comes to handling performance, it's not good because soft suspension tends to cause the vehicles have a lot of tendency to roll over at the corner. Okay, but okay, that one if you are importing car direct from Italy, car like Alfa Romeo, like Peugeot. Okay, there's another, I think Oh yeah, Renault especially made from Italy. So if you're driving Renault car in Malaysia road, that model is actually being import directly from Italy, which is the CBU unit. So you can see that the suspension is quite soft. In steroid, yes, you're going to be very comfort, but when it comes to handling performance, you're going to face some instability when you're trying to drive your car aggressively. Okay? Like you want to do the double lane change, you want to do single lane change, so there's going to be some rollover. Okay, excessive rollover. Okay, and however, there are general agreement on limitation of ride comfort. So usually, the engineers they're going to design uh, suspension system which is not too soft because if it is too soft, they're going to give a bad handling performance. But if it's too hard in a way to cater the handling requirement, so the comfort is going to be very harsh. So usually, the engineer going to design. So at least ideally 50% of comfort and 50% of handling. But it also depends on the country on which model on which country that model going to be sold. Okay, like Italy, they're going to have a lot of road pavement, so and then the road is quite small, so they expect people not going to drive very fast. So of course, they're not going to look at the handling seriously. So they just going to focus on comfort. Okay, and then so it depends on the country on how this suspension being tuned, and then and this requirement on how they're going to tune the suspension, either that car tuning need to have a soft suspension tuning or the hard suspension tuning. First they're going to take a look at what geography of the country, and then also to confirm it, usually the engineers they're going to conduct a road test. Okay, so let's say they want to bring in a new model. So for example, the closest example is Proton when they want to develop X50 for Malaysian market. So usually they're going to bring in a complete CBU from China. They're going to bring in, and then they're going to test that car in our country first. Okay, so during the test, they're going to check the engine performance and then handling performance, but mostly they're going to check the ride comfort performance of that vehicle. So that usually that vehicle they're going to collect a set of data. So usually that data is going to be in form of vertical accelerations or power spectral density, which the graph you're going to see in this slide later on. So the idea is that they need to make sure that the characteristic of that the data that they collected going to pass the requirement or the assessment criteria set by the Protons engineer, local Protons engineer. So if it does not or does not meet the standard the passing rate or of the requirement that being set. So usually they're going to retune that suspension specifically for this country. Okay, so that's why if you can see, and then being catered for our country, and then the good thing is that one for this actually for X50 sorry lah. So this one of the engineers actually my friend. So even though that they already did the tuning, is to find out they can optimize the comfort between the ride and the handling. And then it's actually the handling that improve a lot. Okay, but at the same time, it's still give the comfort that being accepted by for Malaysian fiction. And then Giri found out that our engineers, local engineers, has the ability to tune the suspension system for the handling. So later on, most of the China handling handling tuning, the suspension tuning for the handling performance actually being tuned by our engineers. Okay, and then and then uh, if that and then they're not going to claim that this suspension tuning been done by Proton. No, they're going to claim this tuning has actually been done by Lotus. Okay, because there's a long history between Lotus. At the beginning, When Proton bought Lotus, Lotus trained the Proton's engineer. Then the knowledge been passed down, and then starting from there, from Proton Moja, Proton engineer been tuning the suspension on their own. But with the, for example, Preve, Proton Preve or Satranio, they have a batch of tuned by Lotus. So that one is not actually tuned by Lotus. Lotus just what is part of marketing. So Lotus just give this certification with the tuning work actually be done by local engineer. So like Lotus just give the license to use that phrase, okay, a trademark phrase tuned by Lotus. Okay, the same thing now for Geely, the handling, the suspension, tuning being done by engineers from Proton, with this certification being performed by Lotus. So you can get some of it tuned by Lotus. So Geely can claim that the suspension will be tuned by Lotus. Okay? There's a lot of so it's part of business or marketing strategy lah between Geely, Lotus, and Proton. So usually later on, if you want to work in industry, like for example, Proton, Lotus, and Geely, even though that this company being bought under Geely, there's some you're going to find some a tricky business partnership between these entities. For example, a long time ago, even though that Proton bought Lotus, Proton cannot simply ask Lotus to do the job on their behalf. Usually, when Proton want to do that, Proton will create a business opportunity for Lotus to do the work. Okay, but for now, for Geely, I'm not sure why this is happening. For Geely, when the Geely want to create the Lotus technology on their car, usually they're not going to create the business for Lotus. No, they're just going to instruct the Lotus, and okay, this is not the weird one. I'm not sure why Lotus just give pass the technology without giving or without them having the business from Geely. Yeah, I'm not sure how the arrangement, but yeah, for Proton last time when Lotus under Proton, yeah, we actually not really take the advantage of having Lotus on under Proton umbrella. Okay, so yep, saya tak tahu lah sebenarnya dia punya agreement with the top management. But now, so that's why you see with Geely acquiring a lot of company, most of the technology being applied under the Geely's model. Okay, like Volvo, Geely bought Volvo chassis in Geely's model, and then Geely take over Lotus handling handling tuning being taken or being simply applied by Geely. But when it comes to Proton, yeah, I'm not sure how our people work with the with outsiders, right? So this one's more on top management. But yeah, previously it's like that. So when Proton's working with Lotus, so anytime that Proton wants to use Lotus expertise, Protons actually need to pay Lotus. Okay, so this long story. Okay. Okay. So what is a good ride comfort? Okay, a good ride comfort means that the vehicle is isolated from all disturbances of the road. So you can use a very soft springs and dampers, or it can but we come like I told you before. So a good ride comfort is all about isolating the harsh environment from affecting the passengers and driver inside the car's cabin. Usually can be achieved using a soft suspension setting. So meaning you have your very soft spring stiffness, and then you're going to have a very soft damping coefficient value. But yeah, you're going to absorb most of the shocks. But when it comes to handling, so this kind of suspension setting going to provide high tendency for the vehicle to roll over. Okay. How to know that vehicle is having a soft springs and dampers in the vehicle? So usually you can actually observe this one on highways or roads. So if you're tailing a car in front of you, I think cars which has the soft suspension setting is Toyota. I think Toyota Vios. If you observe Toyota Vios on the car, if you observing car via try to overtake you, just take a look at the wheels, where you can see that the wheels is moving excessively up and down. Okay, so that one very comfort lah, but in terms of handling, it's not stable. Okay, for BIOS, I think your BIOS also not having a good right handling performance, because they're linking towards more to right, not handling. Okay, okay, okay. So okay, now okay, good right. Also need the body control. So if you want to have good body control, we need to use hard springs and damper. Okay, like for this one, yeah, usually for soft springs, passenger vehicle lah. So passenger vehicle, even though that being yeah, most of the passenger vehicle has tendency to use a soft suspension setting, but towards what a bit stiffer suspension settings to give or to meet the requirement for handling performance. But there's also car which use a very hard springs and damper. This one usually can take a look on high-end sports car, okay, especially in the like old model of Lamborghini, Porsche, okay, all versions, all model, not latest one, because latest one typically they're going to use advanced suspension system. Okay, all the versions they're using a conventional suspension, which is comprising springs and damper, and then these springs and dampers is actually using hard setting, so it's very stiff. It's not going to provide what a good ride comfort. So meaning that when this vehicle, high-end vehicle like such as a Lamborghini hit a bump, the driver will feel the road harshness very severely lah. So the ride comfort is very bad. But when it comes to handling, it's going to be good, very very good. So because for high-end high-end vehicle or high-end performance vehicle, usually ride comfort is not their priority. Usually they handling, because they want to take a corner at very high speed. Okay, but that ones we're talking about older version of high-end vehicle, because last time they still not having the advanced suspension system technology. But nowadays, most of the high-end vehicle being equipped with advanced suspension type. Okay, which we're going to take a look later on. So for this one, so we can say, we can conclude a good ride comfort is actually a good compromise for specific roads between body control and vibration isolation. So if I want to draw a graph between the handling, okay. So let's say that okay, this is right, this is handling. Okay. So let me this the what the like say that we represent the performance between what the suspension tuning for ride and suspension tuning for handling, how it affects performance. So let's say that we want to have a good ride comfort. So meaning that we a good ride comfort means that we need to have a very low suspension setting. So when we have a very low suspension setting, our handling performance will be very low. Okay, so when we the graph will sacrifice or what compromise the right performance of it, so we start to decreasing the value. So by having a stiffer suspension setting, so we can see that the handling performance start to rising. So up to some point, we will have what the performance between handling and right going to cross, where we have this one is actually the most optimum suspension setting. Okay. Okay, this is the most optimum. So yeah, and there's nothing more that we can do. So this is the most optimum value for suspension. So this is the best suspension setting that going to give you the almost optimum handling performance, and also going to give you the what optimum ride performance. Okay, But this one only for conventional suspension system, which is involving a normal springs and normal dampers. Okay, but for advanced suspension system, we can have both handling and ride. Okay, you can have both ride and handling at the same path if you want. Okay, so meaning that while you're having a ride, when let's say that when you are taking a corner, there is your suspension is actually being stiff, being set to behave in a stiff condition, and at the same time when you hit the bump or any rocks or road surface, it can suddenly or immediately change its get to soft setting in a very short time, instantaneously. So when the that rock is what being passed behind, so the setting we need to change back to the hard setting. So we can have this kind of characteristic for ride and handling performance at the same path. Okay, it's just that this one is only um for a passive suspension system. So any questions so far? Any question?
So far, so good.
Okay, now definition of ride. So basically in ride, we have two primary frequencies. So, okay, before we go to definition of ride, we need to know in terms of sprung mass and unsprung mass. Okay, for suspension, later on we're going to do the modeling for ride comfort. So we have term for what? Sprung mass and unsprung mass. So usually, okay, this, let's not touch this cartoon. So this is, we have okay, we have the car. So you need two terms that you need to know, which is the first one is sprung mass. Then second one is unsprung mass. Sprung mass is actually all the weights that being supported by the suspension system. Okay, meaning that let's say that over here we have the okay, over here we have a suspension system, spring and dampers. Okay, and then this on our chassis, the suspension be mounted at the suspension tower. So this is the what mounting point. So sprung mass is actually the mass that being supported this suspension by the suspension. So meaning that if you want to differentiate sprung mass and unsprung mass, so the sprung mass is actually the chassis in whole. Okay. Okay, so I want to see for sprung mass. So this is your sprung mass. Ke sini ya. Okay, this is your sprung mass. The one that being supported by the suspension. For the unsprung mass is actually the weight of the wheels, the weight of the suspension system itself, and then plus all the leakages in between between the suspension and the wheels, the knuckle, the bolts and nut at this area. Okay, this is unsprung mass. Okay, so this one is okay, this one. Okay, this one is unsprung mass. This one is sprung mass. Okay. Okay. And then for the, okay, this is the definition of ride. So usually for primary ride, it's actually referring to the sprung mass ride. The secondary ride, meaning that it's actually the referring to unsprung mass ride performance or quality. So we need to expect that for good ride comfort, you need our primary ride or the sprung mass it need to has low frequency excitation, and need to has a very low displacement. Okay, usually we're going to observe in displacement form, the vertical displacement, and then the data will be in the time domain, so it's going to be visible. Okay, and then usually for unsprung mass right characteristic, usually it's going to occur at very high, not very high frequency, still low frequency, but it's going to occur between 5 to 20 hertz. It sometimes can be 21 hertz, but usually between 5 to 21 hertz. Okay, and then we're going to observe it in the form of acceleration, and can be in time domain and frequency domain. Okay, so let's say that let's go back to the sprung mass right quality. So when we say that it need to has a low frequency of excitation, so meaning that when you hit the bulb, or you have a rough road harshness, your chassis will only exit um, has the excitation no more than 5 hertz per second, 5 hertz. Okay, 5 hertz. So meaning that it's just going to go up and down 5 times within a second. But usually this one is for normal passenger vehicle, it's just no more than 2 hertz. But for 5 hertz, still what this suspension is actually too soft. For suspension which don't have the dampers, we can see that the chassis will uh, dia punya regulation characteristic tu very worse at 5 hertz, because what we call as a whole body vibration. For human body, we cannot usually we will feel comfortable when our body being shake about 4 times a second. Okay, there's going to be nausea, we have a headache, and we can simplify that we're going to feel uncomfortable. Usually the excitation frequency for whole body is just up to 2 hertz, 2.5 hertz only, because more than that we will start having uncomfort feeling, okay, like to vomit. Okay, and then for second one is for the unsprung mass frequency. Okay, for this sprung mass frequency, the wheels is actually being allowed to excite at higher frequency, but not too high, because this one later on is going to affect what we call as a dynamic tire load, which is if you have highest frequency of tire excitations, that tire going to impact back to our road surface, and in long run, it's going to damage the road. Okay, so we need to limit the frequency of these unsprung mass excitations. Okay, so any question on this one? So this one is very important, because later on we're going to do the simulation and use this part of your evaluation in saying that your suspension system for that specific car that you chosen is actually having a good ride comfort. So this is actually the requirement, plus with other requirements that later on when you're doing your simulation. Simulation work will going to be your project lah, individual project. Okay, another question. Okay, now this is the reaction. Okay. Okay, this is actually usually for suspension. In order for us to check the ride comfort of vehicle, usually we're going to have or install a set of sensors at each corner of a vehicle. Let's say we have for passenger vehicle, we have 4 corners, so there are going to be two sensors installed at each corner. One installed at the sprung mass position, and another one being installed at unsprung mass position. So we have in total we have 8. So 2 sensors at each corner. So we're going to drive on the road, and then we're going to measure the value of acceleration. And this value of acceleration, we don't we can have the data. We're going to collect the data in the form of acceleration versus time domain. But for this we can use this one also, but for proper evaluation, usually engineers they have this set of graph that need to be used. They're going to use power spectral density, which is this one, where in this graph, this association value will be converted into a frequency domain readings, which is this one, the x-axis. Okay, and then from here they're going to take a look, so they know that based on the requirement that in previous slide say that the sperm mass body need to have a frequency less than 5 Hz. They know that that frequencies belong to the chassis, so they're going to write this one. Okay, less than 5 Hz belong to the chassis, and then they just want to take a look at the which one is the most occurrence frequency, which is the most frequent frequency that occurs during the testing. So they're going to take a look at this one. So usually, which is this one we call as the dominant peak. Okay, so this one is about 2 Hz. Okay, roughly about 2 Hz. Okay, so same goes for this one. The rest, so from this one until to 20 Hz, they're going to categorize this at the frequency for this unsprung mass. Okay, so this one with the most the most frequent, which is occurs at this one, about 19 Hz. 19 Hz. Okay, so this one is usually for in this graph, they're just going to take a look at the most dominant frequency, which is which peak has which is the highest one. So they're going to focus on the one, and they will try to make sure that, for example, this one for primary suspension, they know that they said, okay, let's say that the sperm mass frequency need to be less than 5. Okay, they said 5, and then based on the data, they find out that the major or the peak or the most dominant peak is actually occurring at this one. Okay, and then this one, of course, is going to be very low. Okay, like this one. So they will know that the suspension is going to be the suspension tuning going to be or cause problems to the passenger later on. Okay, because this one you can see that the we can say that they say that this one is actually at 3 Hz. Okay, so they don't want 3 Hz, so meaning that the passenger will feel more vibrations or more excitation, vertical excitation in chassis. So they're going to expect this one. The passenger will feel uncomfortable with this one. Okay, then they're going to change the suspension tuning again. But okay, remember this one is actually in the experimental world. Okay, we cannot simply change the suspension tuning in real world, because this one's really using a physical hardware or suspension of spring and dampers. They cannot change the value like that, because it's actually passive suspension system. It's already been fixed. They can only do the suspension tuning via the simulation work. Okay, so meaning that later on, also this data, they will also use this one to verify the simulation model. Once it's verified, that means that the simulation results are the same as the experimental one. So they're going to use that verified model and do the playing around the tuning value of spring and of the spring and the dampers. Okay, so so by doing that, they can save a lot, especially in terms of cost and time. And then once they confirm that this peak being improvised either 2 Hz or low, okay, and then they're just going to fix that value and then refabricate or remanufacture again the suspension or the spring and dampers again for the car. So that's how it works. Okay, been done in the industry. So any question on this one? Ada? Okay, see. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the overview of ride. So like I told you previously, for ride, yeah, ride comfort also being contributed other than road surface, it can come from the wind noise, which to prevent that, we need to isolate with the rubbers around the vehicle chassis. The sound from transmissions also affect your ride comfort. Okay, if the vibration from the engine or the sound from the engine sound too loud, you also going to feel uncomfort. Okay, the transmission drive line, if it's rotating at very fast, and also give what generate sounds, you also going to feel uncomfort. And then and then if the road harshness, or if the tires that being used also generate too much sound, you also going to feel uncomfort. But out of these excitation sources, we just going to take a look at the suspension system. Okay, yang for example, this one for road roughness, we're going to improvise this one. Okay, this one we going to improvise by suspension. This one tire compound. Driveline, just driveline design or mounting. This one also mounting. Okay, but for this topic, we're just going to cover the suspension system, which this suspension is the one that going to take care of reducing the effect of road harshness from reaching the passengers or driver in the passenger in the car's compartment. Okay, so all of these exercises in real life. So this whenever this exercises also being taken care very good, so to affect your vehicle vehicle dynamic responses in terms of ride, not only ride performance. So when these four elements being taken care in a very good way, meaning that the engineers design very well, so that car can be said to have a good ride performance. And usually, this one occurs in very high end car lah, especially BM Mercedes, because they're using very high very high specification of materials, technology, systems. Okay, so but it comes with high cost lah, which cannot be applied to the car for a commoner macam kita lah, Raya Mahan. Okay, kalau kita 60K awak expect dia punya ride comfort semacam kita Mercedes, memang tak boleh lah. Okay, so siapa yang bawa masuk ni? Kita okay, now visitation sources on the okay, yang tadi lah kita tengok in detail lah briefly. So road profile. So road can be considered as primary source of excitation in a vehicle because it is the only contact or window between the road and the suspension is the tire. So if you think whenever we're having harsh road harshness or harsh road profile, so basically this will be transferred in the form of motion to the wheels, and then since that wheels are actually being attached to the suspension system, so the behavior or the characteristic of the suspension either in soft settings or hard setting, so it's going to be transferred to the chassis. Okay, so let's say that we are having the soft setting, so meaning that the harsh road profile, this one will be cancelled or being absorbed by the suspension, so the motion will not being transferred to the chassis, so, which ends up the driver won't feel the harsh road harshness. Okay, same goes if we are using hard suspension setting. So with hard suspension setting, the wheels will not allowed to move a lot up and down in form of vertical motion. So that one will affect the chassis. So when the motion of the wheel being restricted or being restricted, so the suspension also will push the chassis up and will push up and down the chassis excessively too. Okay, so and then this road profile can comes in the form of periodical, random, and impact. So in periodical, it can be in the uneven highway surface, and then on random. So it can, for example, for random road profiles, if there's a rock on road surface, and then you hit, and then the driver hits the wheels hit the rock, and then for impact, so suddenly when you're driving, you hit something, for example, a bump, okay, a bump, okay, uh, and then and then this noise actually came from the road tire tread interaction, so the tire design, tire compound. So they say, so that's why if you take a look at the some of the tire constructions, the one that being the tire manufacturers from many brands. You have Toyo tire, you have Michelin, you have Eagle tire, and then most of the tires that being used by locals, by Malaysians, is actually made from Thailand. Okay, for Malaysian made, it's actually the price is a bit higher, but usually locals will going to buy tire from Thailand because it's cheap. But cheap is not always mean good. So usually, even though it works, what in giving you a good frictions on the road, usually cheap tires going to compromise in terms of sounds isolation. So usually for cheap tire, they're going to produce a lot of noise when you're driving the road. Okay. So this one is actually being contributed by the selection of tire compound, the chemical that being used during the manufacturing of the tire, and then also the design of the tire tread. Because the certain pattern of tire tread going to when it's rolling on the road, it's usually going to trap some air. So if it be not being designed properly, this what sounds like a trap, that's the one that going to produce sounds when your tire is moving on the road. Okay, this one, usually for tires is very wide. If you do that, we are talking about tire. There is the research on tire alone, or the knowledge for tire construction is bigger than the suspension. Okay, so even we have one textbook only for tire, quite big. And then later on, you're going to learn about this tire at the end of this topic. But that one also still, I'm just going to give you surface things that you need to know about the tire construction, because tire is very complex. And then, like I told you previously, other than engine performance, tires are the one that going to affect the winning chances of Formula One team. Okay, so in Formula One team, tire is plays a very crucial element. Okay, so they really take care of tire other than engine, because the engines already, every manufacturing or every teams already design the engine have the maximum performance allowed by the regulations by FIA, but not for tires. Okay, for tires, there is no specific regulations. You can use either dry, you can use wet, or combination of wet and dry. And then this compound during this type of tires is not the same based on each Formula One team. So this one affects the winning chances for the team. Okay, and then other excitation. So like I told you, is in drive length excitations. This is actually in lateral excitation because the shaft is rotating. If we have the rear-wheel drive, so we're going to have a long shaft from front axle to rear axle. So when the shaft is rotating, we can say that there is a lateral excitation. Okay. But if we have the front drive, so usually in front drive, the shaft is actually going to be in sideways in lateral direction. Okay. And then also in engine acceleration, they're going to be in lateral and longitudinal acceleration. So usually for engine excitations, now typical this problem of vibration from driveline in engine excitation is actually been taken care by engine mountings. And now for latest approach being used by Proton, they're using previously they've been using 4-point engine mountings where they have 4 position of the engine mountings to be put on. Where is it? So there's going to be 4 locations, but now they changed into what they call as a pendulum engine mounting system. They only have 3 points. So when they have 3 points, they do the way that they did it is that they arrange these vibrations to be allowed or to be allowed to shake the engine. They're not going to restrict it. It's just that the vibrations when it vibrates, the excitation does not reach to the driver. It goes somewhere else. So this one is like a pendulum. So it being allowed to shake, but the excitation will not go towards the driver. It will go somewhere else on the chassis. Okay, compared to the 4 points. So 4 points are actually when you install 4 points engine mounting, usually it's going to restrict the motion of this engine. But during that restriction, some of it will be passed to the chassis, and then it will reach the passenger. Okay, so this one is just brief description on this one, how they cater the drive line vibration and engine vibrations. So any questions? So it's already 10. So we're going to continue. For tonight, we're going to do example on the acceleration performance. Okay, this one I'm going to continue the notes next week. Okay, any question?
Sir, when is our test one?
So this week is already week 6, right?
Yes.
So it's going to be next week lah, end of next week. Probably again, yeah, since that end of next week going to be on Friday. Do you have tests on Friday?
Hot date?
Friday
It's on 3rd of December, Doctor.
Yeah.
I have component design test.
Component design test. Then how about, because this one is just involving us, so we don't always follow your schedule for the test too. So before this, so what other tests that you have?
I think one or two is okay for me. I don't know if for the rest.
Tapi
On to I have test, Doctor.
Okay. So basically, for sure, I don't want to disturb your mid-sem break. So the latest is on 4th. Can we do on 4th?
Can, Doctor.
Okay,
Can.
okay.
Okay. So we do it on 4th of November. So this one for me, because this subject is only involving you and me, so we can be flexible. So that's why I don't set the date early, like the previous semester. Yeah, I don't set the date for the test early with my student, because I know this thing will you also will have other tests for subject. Okay, so we're going to do it on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. It's just 1 hour test, a simple one. Okay.
All right, Doctor.
Okay, Doctor.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm going to announce this test schedule in WhatsApp group. Okay. Okay. Any other question?
No, Doctor.
Okay, good. If not, we can dismiss. So we're going to continue. Don't forget our class tonight at 8:30 p.m. Okay. Thank you.